Yeah. We back, baby. We back. It's episode 2 of Hold That. Yeah. Foosball settings. We out here. We're ready to make the predictions. Predictions for the Premier League, the top 5, because it's no longer top 4 anymore. So top 5 can get CL football and then relegation. All right. Let's go, Jay Jones. Yep, it's your boy Luke. Supporting the mighty Reds. And yeah, over to my co-host, Marju. What you telling me?
Yeah, it's Abdallah Eady in the building, Chelsea fan. Sad day, Kunku out till 2024. So RIP soon come. But yeah, man, apart from that, I can't wait for the season to start. It's actually the most excited I've been about a Chelsea team in a long while under Pochettino. So it's going to be interesting to see what both of us have for our top fives and what we think the season's going to become.
Yeah, like I agree with you, but then in the same breath, for me, like it's a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot of uncertainty in the sense of a lot of the teams haven't fine-tuned their squad yet. Like every single big team is going into this season missing players, missing signings, gaps and holes still in the squad. Like it's mad. City's going into this campaign whereby they haven't replaced the guys that they've sold to the Saudi clubs. Like Arsenal's going into the squad. Yeah, like we run jokes and we run bants about like the signings that they've made. To me, it don't make sense, but I still feel like they're still missing a bit of experience in that team. Chelsea's going into this season with a midfield that's non-existent. Like it's all youth man in their team. Like Liverpool's going into this season with no CDM, a centre back that is lacking. And then last but not least, United's going into this season where again, same as Arsenal, the transfers don't make sense. So it's interesting. You got Newcastle who's been very silent in a transfer window, and we thought that they would be making some noise, but they haven't. They're silent. Brighton's been silent. Aston Villa's probably the only team out of all the big clubs that have made shrewd signings that make sense, and signings that's gonna improve them as a whole. And they're probably gonna be the ones to watch this season, potentially breaking into that CL spot like Newcastle did. But you know what? Without further ado, let's get cracking, man. Like, who's your predictions for the PL? It's probably easy answer. It's probably a stupid question, but
Yeah.
I'm still interested to know what your thoughts are anyway.
What in terms of who I think is going to win, I think you can't really go past Man City at the moment.
Yeah.
Even with their issues, I think they'll bring in a winger. I'm hearing rumors of Matoma. I'm hearing rumors of Doku. So I think they'll bring in a winger. I think that's the only position that they're probably lacking at the moment is in that wing position. But once they get someone who's fast, direct, can go in behind, I think they'll pretty much be the favorites because I think every other team has issues outside of the first 11, which Man City outside of that first 11 has a bench that can change a game. Because even if you looked at the Community Shield, they used like a secondary team kind of. They didn't start with their big guns, like De Bruyne and stuff like that, and they still held Arsenal for most of the game, and still were kind of dominant in parts. And they didn't look like they were 100% fit as well. So it's going to be another season where you see Man City start slow and then go quick towards the end of the second half of the season. But yeah, I can't see anyone else coming close to them. Um, the team I'm looking out as a dark horse is Man United. I think it's about time that they need to do it because they've had three good transfer windows in a row where they've brought in players. I think they have an 11 and a bench that can at least challenge a Man City. Obviously, they drew a couple players here and there, but it's time. Ten Hag's been there for an amount of years. Same with Arsenal. Arteta's been there for an amount of years. It's time for them to push on and actually join the title race and be a threat to Man City. Um, I just think for my part, Liverpool and Chelsea need DMs, and if they don't get that sorted out, you can easily run through those midfields at the moment. And that's the one thing that you got to win in the Premier League. Everyone's midfield is top 10, top quality. So you need DM. So if Liverpool don't get that Lavia, if we don't get that Caicedo, I don't think we're going to be up there. But if those deals happen within a week or two, then my predictions of what I think is going to happen might change. But yeah, City for the title at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I do believe City is for the title. My only issue and concern with City is the players that they currently have. A few of them, there's a bit of unrest and they want to leave. So you got Laporte, who they've signed Guardiola, who can play centre back and left back, but Laporte is still there. He's unhappy. You got Bernardo Silva, who's been flirting with a transfer move for 2 seasons now. He's still there. So it's just a case of, yeah, they've got a couple new guys in, but they still got older players in there who you have to question whether they're going to play for the shirt this season. Um, they I still believe that they're missing a winger who can beat a man, a winger like old school Sterling under Arteta, who could beat a man, who was pretty much untouchable. He was invincible, a Leroy Sane type player. I believe they're missing that because, yeah, you got Grealish and yeah, you got Phil Foden, but them man don't have pace. They
Yeah.
just got technical ability, and you need wingers that can beat a man. Liverpool's got that with Luis Diaz. Chelsea's got that with Nkunku and other young ballers that they've got. We banter about Anthony at United, but United's got Anthony, United's got Rashford, so City's just missing that guy that's got the PMP, and until they manage to get a guy that's got the PMP, they're gonna struggle. I do believe they will struggle. I do agree that they're gonna start slow, but I also feel like they're gonna struggle. I feel like Kovacic is a decent signing, but he's completely different to what Gundogan is. How is Kovacic gonna improve their midfield? De Bruyne's got aging legs. His decline was evident last season. He wasn't racking up numbers like how he normally would rack up. So for me, like, the team is sort of in a transition period, and you wouldn't associate Man City to be in a transition because of how many players they've always accumulated and bought over the years. But right now, for me, question marks are on Man City. Yeah, the match against Arsenal was obviously like a throwaway because we saw it last season. Liverpool spanked Man City and took them to school in a Community Shield, but who ended up winning the league? Man City did. But I feel like there's a different aura coming into the Premier League, in a sense where I believe the Premier League is so open this year. Like, naturally, you're going to look at City and think, yeah, City are going to win it. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? Other teams have a shout. Other teams 100% have a shout. So right now, I could say Man City, but just vocally saying all of these facts out loud now, I actually don't know who's going to win the PL. I don't have a prediction for that. I'm not going to lie. But the top five, I 100% got a prediction for that. But I want to know what your predictions are first. Who are you ranking from second to fifth? Who's your teams, Margie?
I had time to think about this. It's a very difficult question because there's a lot of teams that have what ifs and maybes. So for me, I think even in a couple weeks' time, this could change because of we're still not at the end of the transfer window. So I'm going to caveat this that this is the teams right now as I see them, what I believe they will be right now. So for me, what I believe should happen, I think second, I'm going to go Man United. Third, Arsenal. The reason why I have second Man United, as I said, they've had a couple years under Ten Hag. They've bought the players he's wanted. They finally got the striker in, and I think with that striker and with the attacking players that have around him, I think they have the team to potentially challenge. They need to. I think it's about time that they do that because you're Man United. You're the biggest club in the world, like one of the biggest. Like you can even say biggest in the world, and you wouldn't be surprised about it. It's about time that they got back into business. Third, Arsenal. I just think the Havertz signing for me was the one that I don't get. Um, You're not spending 65 million on a man that's coming off the bench. And for me, they have a better midfield without him. So spending that kind of money on him would have been better spent elsewhere. I think they would have been better off putting that money towards a right winger, putting that towards an actual left centre mid that could replace Xhaka. I feel like Rice and Timber are great signings and have improved them, but I think the Havertz deal has also pulled them back. And in sense, they've just done 1-for-1 with Rice and Xhaka. They brought in Havertz, who I think is a negative, and Timber a positive. So I just think they're just the same. But I don't think they'll have the same season as last season because that was a once in a lifetime kind of season, the way they played, the way they go. You can't really replicate that. You can't replicate the way that they were destroying teams because now teams are zoning in on them. They're not going to give them the space. They're not going to give them that luxury. It's not the surprise factor that you get with the guys of like Saka and Martinelli. People now know, okay, these are the guys that they're going to go to for the goals. Down the middle, they ain't going to do much. So I got to stop the wingers. I got to stop Odegaard, and I can win the game. And with that kind of prior knowledge, you kind of get the way the team is now. So I think they will be third. Fourth for me is Liverpool. I think they're going to get the Lavia deal over the line. But even without that, I think they have the manager and the players to finish fourth. Even last season, they were really close, even though, and towards the end of last season, with their lack of midfield, they played brilliant football towards the end. They went on a winning run. It was even looking like they might even nick top four. So I think they're gonna make that little push to go there. And Dams was the episode. Hey, man, you any? No, I'm joking. And fifth for me is going to be Chelsea. I think the teams of Newcastle, Aston Villa are good, but Newcastle are going to be bogged down by Champions League football. I think Aston Villa can go only so far, and I think the losses of Brighton, I think they'll lose Casado, McAllister, stuff like that. Even though they do well, they don't really replace like for like. They try and just get something different. And even if they do get the kudos deal, that'll be good for them. But I just don't think those teams will finish fifth. And I think Chelsea will get the transfers needed just to get that over the line. I don't think we can go any higher than fifth, but I'm just gonna put us at fifth just because of bias. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't think we're gonna get any higher than that. But any of those teams, any of Newcastle, Brighton, Villa, Chelsea can get fifth, but Chelsea's the only team that if they finish fifth will get Champions League football. So I think that's more of an incentive for them to get that.
Okay, fair enough. I like the sound of that, man. I like the sound of that. I'm surprised, but I like the sound of that. I think for me, it, the moment when we said what the episode was going to be today, last week, it had my brain's been rattled, and I've been pondering what second to fifth will be and what it will look like, and trying not to add biasness to it. But although it's natural to do that, but for me, if Liverpool can get this Lavia deal over the line, then I'm putting them as second. The reason why I'm putting them as second is because, as you rightfully said, last season our midfield was a pack of donuts. You can run through us easily. Like, our midfield was looking like Mia Khalifa, like free, open season. And like for me, the fact that we could have got third in a season that was poor, to me shows that if we get the CDM over the line, who knows what will happen. There were games that we were going into big games and we were playing beautiful football with a midfield of Henderson in there and Milner and Harvey Elliott. Brexit football. So for me, now we've changed the dynamic of the type of way that we're playing. We're now playing more of a possession style. We're no longer playing Gengan type football or high octane, high velocity football anymore. Super press. We're not playing that anymore. We're changing our style, and it's to accommodate the ball players that we've got in our team. And I think for me, I've seen more than enough in a preseason to know that even if our defense isn't going to be great, our attack is going to carry us over the line. So for me, I'm putting us as second. We're the only team that can pound for pound match Man City, and we're just one season away, not one season, one signing away from doing that. And to me, with Southampton saying that he wants this, they want this deal over the line today, then if we can get that Lavia deal before Chelsea, then yeah, me second for Liverpool. Third is going to be Arsenal for me. I think Arsenal proved last season that regardless of all the teams going through transition, that they're here to stay. They are. They played fantastic football. The football was sublime. The only thing that halted them towards the end of the season was due to tiredness and inexperience. That's all it was. They've never been in that position before for a good few years, and the players that they were relying on were very youthful. Saka, young. Martinelli, young. These guys who need an experienced guy to maybe interchange and swap around with them when they need a bit of respite. And I think that's the only thing that they've missed. And I think they will learn from last season. And I feel like they will go on and they will remain in top four for sure. So for me, Arsenal will be third. Fourth was very difficult. I'm not going to lie. It was very difficult because I had to think about United, Chelsea, and Aston Villa. I agree with Marju in the sense where Newcastle is going to find it difficult due to the Champions League. They haven't been in that position before in a very long time, since I believe the mid 2000s, probably early 2000s. So for me, being in that position whereby your manager hasn't experienced that before, I feel like they will struggle with that. So that's the only reason why I'm not mentioning them. But United, Chelsea, and Aston Villa, I think the signings Aston Villa has made has been dangerous. You know, poor Torres, a left-sided centre back who's tall. He's probably 6'5", 6'6", technically gifted on the ball, knows how to pass the ball. Yuri Tillemans for free in that midfield, no brainer. Then you got Diaby on that right wing as well, a like for like replacement for Leon Bailey. And Ollie Watkins has been on form in this preseason. You're looking at a formidable team right now in a manager who knows what it's like to be or challenge for the top four spots, for the Europa League spots. Now he's got a full preseason under his belt. You know, Aston Villa is going to be looking dangerous. So this one was very difficult. But for me, I know Margie put Chelsea as fifth. I'm actually going to put Chelsea as fourth. I am. Because for me, the preseason that they've had, the style of play that he's trying to adopt has been working for them. And the reason why it's been working for them is because Pochettino likes, this is going to sound wrong, but he likes young boys. He likes young. Pochettino likes youngsters. He does. Like, and the reason why he likes it is because he likes to develop them. And the type of football and aggressive football that he likes to play can be adopted using the youngsters. And like for me, the Nicholas Jackson guy, good striker, stone cold killer. The Nkuku situation is mad, but obviously he'll come back as a new signing in January, so that's fine. The minute they get that Caicedo deal over the line in midfield, that's going to be a game changer for them. It will, and I feel like They've got rid of the dead weight. They've got rid of the cancerous type of players in their team. He's now starting to build a team cohesion. He's now trying to build an actual football philosophy and bringing them back to the roots of how Chelsea's supposed to play. And I feel like they made a great decision in appointing him. We said it in previous podcasts before that either him or Zidane would have been a good appointment. But to bring in someone like Poch who actually understands the league and understands how to utilize the young talents as well, I actually believe you guys are going to get top four. I actually do believe it. I reckon you will. Which brings me to top five. I think United will be fifth. The reason why I believe United will be fifth is because you can't spend 72 million on a striker who's only bagged 6 goals last season in the league. It doesn't make sense to me. Number one, you got fleeced like you normally do. And the division that he was in, Lukaku came from a terrible spell in the Premier League and went over there and bagged near 30 goals. There's a lot of players that have left leagues to go to Serie A and bagged 20 to 30 goals. You're in an attacking team, Atalanta. That's an attacking team. We know who they are. They were 2-3 years ago, they were one of the dark horses in the CL. And on top of that, they were close to winning the league. So you mean to tell me an attacking style team that you're a part of and you can't score out, or you can only score 6 goals? Then you're expected to come to the Premier League, which is a lot more harder, by the way, than Serie A, but you're expected to come to the league, the Premier League, and contribute more than what you're doing in Serie A, and you failed over there. So for me, number one, that signing didn't make sense. Number two, there's other players out there that they could have gone after. They could have. Harry Kane, slap the peas down to get Harry Kane. There's nothing wrong with that. He wants to leave. Lautaro Martinez, slap the peas down for him. He would be happy to leave. Vlahovic is available. There's guys out here that know how to score goals. Ollie Watkins. But no, you go for unproven talent who struggled in potentially an easy league, quote unquote, and you're expecting him to lead the line. It doesn't make sense to me. Your midfield still was questionable because I don't know what position Mason Mount is playing. And even still, even if he was in the 8, in the preseason, he's been shocking. Your defense is still non-existent because you're relying on Varane, who's average. Then you got Martinez, where he's 1 yellow, 1 red card away from ruining the game. Who else do you have outside of them? You haven't even gone out to buy a centre back or a leader at the back to partner Martinez. Then you got Onana, who I still believe isn't a great signing. And I don't want to hear United fans saying he's an upgrade from De Gea. What? Because he knows how to control the ball with his feet and distribute well. Bro, when it comes to shot stopping, I don't personally believe he's that great. I still believe he's an average player. So for me, the signings that United have made, I don't personally believe has improved the club. I hope I'm proved wrong, but I will put them as fifth. So City first, Liverpool second, Arsenal third, Chelsea fourth, United fifth. That's my prediction. Again, as Margie said, it could change over the course of this month because the transfer window is still open, but that's me. Margie, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the relegation battle. Like, who do you feel is going to go down? You know, the most logical name that I probably would think you would say is Luton. But, you know, I'm interested to see who else you think or believe should go down.
To be honest, it's a very hard one because last season there was the teams that went down is not what we expected. I mean, even teams like Everton and West Ham were on the brink of going down. So for me, and I'm pretty sure it was the first time that a team that didn't went down wasn't promoted. So pretty much it was a clean sweep of just Premier League mainstays that went down. So there's a lot of teams that are gonna struggle this season. I think I think Luton will go down. I think one thing about them is that I don't think their stadium is Premier League ready, so I don't think they're going to be able to play in that stadium. That's going to be a deterrent to them, and they haven't done enough in the window for me to say any otherwise that they'll be up there. In terms of the other two, in my thinking, I think Wolves might go down. I think Wolves might go down. They haven't really done much to improve in the last couple seasons. I think they're losing their manager soon as well. So I don't think they're gonna be a team that's gonna stay around for much longer. Ruben Neves left, they didn't really replace him. Lopetegui, yeah, he looks like he's gonna be gone soon. So it's a lot of unrest when your manager's about to leave before the season starts. So you're just already behind everyone else. You let go of your best player to for no replacement. You haven't really improved the team. The team's got worse. They've also lost Raul Jimenez. So I don't see where what Wolves are doing. It's like they did the Portuguese thing and then they just gave up on it. And I'm not sure where they're going to be next. So I think they'll go down. The third team is a difficult one. It's between for me Nottingham Forest and Sheffield United. Even though Nottingham Forest stayed up last season, they did make a lot of changes, and I feel like that they were very lucky that there were other teams worse than them last season. So for me, I'm just gonna put them just ahead of Sheffield United in terms of going down. Sheffield United could finish 17th, 18th. So it's between them two, but I'm gonna go with Nottingham Forest. I think they need to go down because I don't think it should be okay for a team to come up and buy a whole new 18 players and think that's okay. I don't think that's something that we should have in the Premier League when the Championship team comes up. You need to stick with the team you have and then add a couple additions with a bit of Premier League experience rather than making a whole new team. So for me, I need them to go down. So yeah, those are the three I think. Bottom will be Luton, 19th will be Wolves, and 18th will be Nottingham Forest. And that's who I
Yeah,
got.
yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't fault that prediction. I'm gonna support that prediction to be honest with you. And I agree with everything that you said. The only two clubs that potentially could be back in the position where they were last year is West Ham and Everton. I think West Ham haven't done enough to support David Moyes. And the loss of their captain in Declan Rice is probably the nail in the coffin as well for them. They haven't spent that money. I want to know where that money's gone. David Moyes is obviously frustrated that they haven't spent any money yet. We're probably 3 weeks away from the window closing, and not one signing have been made. So right now, West Ham are being stripped bare to the bones. Um, so yeah, I think they're probably going to struggle again this season, and there's not going to be an excuse of European football for them. So if they do end up being in that position again, a high chance is David Moyes will probably walk, or they'll probably get rid of him. Everton is another sticky one because again, just like last year, signings again there's hardly any signings been happening over in Everton. Um, so I would like to know what Sean Dyche is going to do. Um, but again, I don't know. So I just feel like those two are they're not going to get relegated, but I do feel like those two are going to be the two teams to struggle, along with the three that you mentioned. I 100%. But yeah, that's obviously our predictions that we've made. As I said, it's obviously going to change within this month as we move outside of the transfer window, and once it's conclude and we step into September and October, sometimes the league tends to take its shape, and you tend to notice who's going to finish where, or what the season's going to be like come September, October times anyway. So you never know, we might end up changing our mind again. But to close, we've obviously got the awards of what the FA or the Premier League like to put out, and that's obviously the Golden Boot, the assist, and the Golden Glove for the goalkeeper. So obviously, there's a load of candidates for the Golden Boot. Haaland is obviously going to be the obvious one that we think about. Harry Kane's going to be the obvious one, but then at the same time, is Harry Kane's going to be in the Premier League come the end of the window? He might not be. He might be going to Bayern Munich. So then the next logical person who's been in that race before is Mohamed Salah. So there's three names that we always associate with the Golden Boot. Marjube, I'm interested to find out, who is your Golden Boot winner heading into the new campaign.
To be honest, it is Haaland, but I'm just gonna disregard him because he's a freak of nature. I'm gonna say some of the guys that I think are gonna be up there and surprises in that category. And I think two guys that we need to mention is Isaac and Watkins. I think those are two clubs that are gonna have good seasons again. And I think those two guys are going to be the determining factors to how good their seasons are. I think Watkins is looking sharp in the summer, and if Aston Villa want to meet their ambitious dreams of getting into European Champions League, he's going to need to be on form. And same with Newcastle and Isaac. I was lucky enough to watch Isaac live at Rangers when they faced them, went over there, and to watch him live and to see his movement and his ability to pick a pass and stuff like that. He has a lot of quality. He's a player that could have been in a top club, and at the time was a player that even Arsenal were looking at, and I think would have been a better choice than Jesus, in my opinion, for that club. So he's going to be someone. I think them two are going to be the ones that are going to cut it close when it comes to Haaland. I think Kane's going to be gone, or he's going to have a season where he doesn't play as well. Like that's one season where he wanted to lead to Man City. He pretty much was on sleep mode for half the season, and then turned up towards the end when Conte came. Outside of that, I don't think United strikers going to get that many, maybe 10, 11, 12. Jackson's too young. I don't think he's going to get a lot of goals. I think for Chelsea, it's going to be about spreading the wealth. And then another couple guys for Arsenal, I think might be there outside of the major names. I think Saka is someone that you're going to have to look at. I think he needs to step up next season. He needs to get 20 plus goals. Martinelli needs to step up as well. They need to get their goals from the width because if they have the like of Jesus and Havertz up front, they're not going to get goals from there. So outside of your typical names of Haaland and Salah, I think the 3-4 group that's going to be underneath those guys, you're looking at Tony. No, you're looking at Isaac. You're looking at what's his name, Watkins. You're looking at Saka, and you're looking at Martinelli. That's teams that are going to do well over the course of the season, and I think those are going to be the guys that you may look at in terms of who I think is going to come closest. I think Saka. I think Saka is a phenomenal talent, and I think he's gonna go up. If Arsenal are going to be top 3, top 2, he's going to be the guy that's going to get them the goals, and I think he's going to compete with Salah and Haaland this season. I think those will be the top 3. I don't know what order because Salah could have one of those seasons. You never know. Because Liverpool right now, in terms of attacking talent, they're there. They just need a DM. So yeah, that's my guy outside of Salah and Haaland. I'm going with Saka.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree with you in terms of Haaland. The only thing I would say is teams are probably gonna know how to play against him now. He's been in the league. He's been in the league now for one season, and obviously, we always see it. Like when a player comes from abroad, you never know how to adapt and how to adjust to that player. You just have to wing it and just go up against them and be like, okay, cool, that's how you play. That could be your weakness. Maybe the next time we have a one v one battle, I'll do better. And come when preseason happens, in the 21st century, we're in 2023, the science and the data that football clubs accumulate over the season, they be able to find detailed information about Haaland,
Yeah, that's
how he
true.
plays, in certain situations. Is the ball going to be switched to the left? Is it going to be switched to the right? When it comes to timing his runs, when does he time his runs? When do we push up? When do we drop deep? you know. So I feel like they're gonna have that data, and they're gonna be able to man mark him better than they did last season. So although he probably will be up there to get those numbers because he is a freak of nature, I do believe that he will potentially struggle a bit more this season with defenders and the actual team overall knowing how to shut him down and keep him quiet. Because let's face facts, when Arsenal played them last weekend, Haaland was quiet throughout that whole game. So again, Arsenal and Arsenal, I was going to say Arsene Wenger, mad thing, Mikel Arteta did their research and obviously
Mm.
kept him quiet. So, you know, but yeah, he is a name to be up there. I think we can never discredit Mohamed Salah. The numbers that he puts up season upon season, 20 to 30 goals to 40 goals a season in all competition. It will be difficult to say no, he's not going to be there. My dark horse, well, one of my dark horse is going to be Cody Gakpo. I feel like he is slowly starting to come into his false nine role. Last season, you know, a lot of Liverpool fans, um, you know, discredited him, and they were saying, "Oh, why did Liverpool go up and buy him? He's slow." But you know what football fans are like. They're very fickle. They expect players to hit the ground running from the get go. But with that being said, this guy is like he's like Henry-esque when he's on the ball. The pace, the power that he has is underrated. He's elegant on the ball. The way how he brings teammates and linked up play, the way how he's able to control the ball, look up and take a shot. He is quality. He really is. He's an absolute gem, and I feel like he's a player that you need to potentially look out for going into this season. I think if he starts to play ahead of Darwin Nunes, or even if he doesn't play ahead of Darwin Nunes, I think he's going to be up there. Speaking of which, I think Darwin Nunes is going to be up there as well. I think the preseason that he's had, he's found his rhythm, he's found his form, he's found his confidence. He's now speaking English as well, which we all know that if you're a foreigner coming into the Premier League and you're able to speak English, you're able to link up with your teammates a lot more, and the communication is a lot more fluid. He's able to shoot his left foot now. He's able to shoot his right foot. He's not thinking about it anymore. He's just reacting and just going for it. And I think obviously when he was at Benfica in his first season, he did terrible. In his second season, he hit the ground running and scored near 20 to 30 goals. This is his second season now. And if he's showing signs in the preseason that he's on job, there's no real reason why he can't pose a threat in that golden boot as well. So I think he's another person that everyone needs to pay attention to. This is going to be a wild statement, but two other players, Human Song should also be someone that people should look at. I think he's a very underrated player. He's always ticking boxes in terms of the numbers. He's always hitting their 20 goals a season. And with Harry Kane potentially leaving, everybody knows that Tottenham look a better team when Human Song is that focal point in that team. And I reckon he's going to have a very good season if Harry Kane does leave, because the expectation is going to be on his shoulders, and he's someone that has proven that he thrives off of that. So I think he's a player that we should be taking notice of, and even Kai Havertz. I think Kai Havertz potentially could do something at Arsenal. I actually do. I feel like the contrasting difference of football that Chelsea play to Arsenal, the Arsenal football is gonna suit Kai Havertz. He likes to play that false nine role. He likes the ball to feet. He likes to have his back and hold up play, linking players, go on a Miranda run and try get into the box. And I believe the football that Arsenal play with the creativity that's in behind him as well, I actually believe that he could do something this season. And as you said, you're not going to spend 65 to 70 million on a player just to be on a bench. So high key chance, I reckon he will lead the line for them. And he actually had a phenomenal match against Man City over on the weekend. He did very well. So I feel like he stepped into that false nine role very well. And I feel that's probably what they actually want to do with him. So I think, yeah, he's another name that I think people may laugh at, but I feel like he's gonna go there and he's gonna prove people wrong. I do believe that. So those are the names that I'm thinking in terms of the Golden Boot. But all in all, it boils down to the main man, Haaland, just stealing the show, really and truly. Um, who's your top assist gonna be? I think for me personally, if I'm thinking about assists, I think Bukayo Saka needs to be mentioned. I think he needs to step up for sure. He arrived last season and he upped his game for sure, but he obviously suffered from burnout, and he was tired. But I feel like he would have used this season, or should I say last season, as a benchmark to then try and rack up more numbers, because he hit double figures for both assists and goals last season. So there's no real reason why he can't do it again and maybe potentially go for 15 for 15, or maybe 20 for 15, or 20 for 10. There's a lot of pundits that and it pisses me off when I see this, but there's a lot of pundits that are comparing him to Mohamed Salah. I don't get why they do that, because Mohamed Salah's on a different planet than he is. But if you want to become that player that Mohamed Salah is, then you need to start taking those games by the scruff of the neck. You need to start imposing and flexing your ability in those games, demanding for the ball. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to beat a player. Get into that box. Even if it means that you see a player that's open, but you're greedy to try to go for the goal, you need to start making those selfish decisions now. So I think Bukayo Saka's name needs to be on that list. I feel like I also feel like Luis Diaz could be up there along with Mohamed Salah. It's unfortunate that Luis Diaz sustained a long-term injury last season, but you saw the difference that Luis Diaz made come towards the end of the season for Liverpool. And even now, during the pre-season, he looks fresh, he looks live, he looks fiery, he looks up for it. And I feel like a player like him that knows how to beat a man, that knows how to skill a man, like that's what you need from your winger, because you need to be able to to have that fear factor to beat a man, get into the box and assist. So I feel like people like Salah, people like Luis Diaz needs to be mentioned in that list. Um, and then I don't know who else is there. I feel like maybe potentially Bruno Fernandes should be able to step up as well. His name should be in that list, given he's got the captain's armband. There's going to be a lot of expectation on his shoulders for him to deliver. So I feel like his name should be mentioned in that category as well. We can't forget about Kevin De Bruyne, although he's declining. He does have that star factor where if he steps on a pitch and he can see that your striker's free, he's gonna find you. So I feel like names like those should be up there. In regards to finding an actual conclusion on who's gonna get that assist, I actually don't know. I feel like that one there I can't answer, and I think I'll probably wait until August September for me to actually finalize and conclude my decision on who will get that assist king. But I believe those names that I mentioned are probably gonna be thereabouts. It's a shame Chelsea player they ain't on there though. If Raheem Sterling was on job, I could have said him in it. But you man are moving soft, fam. I don't even know who your wide players are, fam. Who are your wide players? You're muted or your mic's not working. Still can't hear you.
Can you
Your
hear me
mic,
now?
yeah, bruv. Your mic's moving like Chelsea right now, fam. I fix up.
Well, anyway, I was gonna say, it would have been Nkunku, but he got injured. I wouldn't put Havertz in terms of the goal scorer category. I'd put him more of an assist man because in that false nine position, he's gonna be the guy that is feeding the Sakas, the Martinellis, and I don't see him as a clinical striker. I don't think he's gonna be up there. But in terms of assists, I think um he's definitely gonna be up there. What, Mike gone? Is it still gone?
No, it's fine, man. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. But yeah, in terms of the two names, I think that's gonna be the assist kings. There's only two names that for me come to mind in terms of assists, and that's James Madison and Kevin De Bruyne. I think Kevin De Bruyne will be up there just because he's gonna be assisting Haaland. And the thing about the Community Shield is they never played together on that game, so I for some reason Pep didn't want to put them together because I guess he was trying out new things for that game, trying to experiment like he always does.
He's trying to
But
help out his boy Arteta. That's why.
yeah, get him a free trophy or whatnot. But in terms of the other guy, James Madison, I think he was a shrewd signing by Tottenham. And even if they keep Kane and Son, he can be a guy that can feed all their attackers in multiple positions. He's the 10 that they needed. He's the replacement to Dele Alli that they haven't really gotten. And even last season with Leicester in that bummy ass team, he was still putting up numbers in terms of assists. He was still up there. So with the attacking talent that he's going to be playing with, I think he's going to be the guy that competes with De Bruyne for that top spot. Um, I think Salah, the likes of Salah and Saka will be up there, but I think they're going to be more focused on the goal side. Um, I don't think anyone from United's going to be up there. I think the likes of Bruno and Mason Mount are too wishy-washy with their passing to always be assist man. But Bruno will lead in penalty goals. That's what he always leads in. That's the one category he always will win every season.
Yeah, true,
But
true.
yeah, for me, I think if it's not De Bruyne, it's gonna be James Madison. I think he's gonna be someone that people are gonna look at as a guy that can create in multiple phases, and he's a guy that I don't think a lot of people see what he did last season because Leicester was so bad. But he's one of the pieces, one of their better pieces, and for me, I think he was their best player last season. So yeah, him at Tottenham. If they keep Kane, them two as a partnership is going to be deadly. Him putting in Son, him putting in Kane, him putting in Kulusevski. I think Tottenham might be a problem, and if they do play quality football under their manager, who did play quality with Celtic, I think he'll definitely be someone who'll be up there. But yeah, those are my two choices. So I don't really can't think of anyone else in terms of the assist category.
Yeah, it's disappointing though because like when you think about assists, back in the day you can think of a plethora of guys in terms of assists, Scholes, Lampard, Rooney, Gerrard, Bergkamp, the list goes on. But when you look at today's players, they're more goal orientated than assists. They more think about trying to get the goals for the team as opposed to assisting their teammates to get the goals. So in terms of trying to go for that award, it is going to be difficult. You can think of so many guys for the Golden Boot, but in terms of the assist category, it's a struggle, man. It really is. And when you think about number 10s, like it's a rare breed in the Premier League. Not many teams play number 10s. It's more eights. So even then, like it's difficult to even think of a decent eight that can fit in that category. So yeah, that one's going to be an interesting one. But last but not least, let's finish on the goalkeeper before we close. All right. So obviously there's a lot of names for goalkeeper. There's obviously Aaron Ramsdale at Chelsea, Edison at Man City, you know, Liverpool with Allison. Chelsea's obviously got their two goalkeepers, so you know who's gonna start for them. And then you know you've got Onana at United, Emiliano Martinez at Aston Villa. I don't know who starts for Newcastle like that. But then you've got, when you're thinking of Golden Gloves, you're probably looking
Nick Pope.
more. That's it, Nick Pope. When you're looking at Golden Glove, you're probably looking at more of the big teams as opposed to the lesser teams, just because the big teams are probably going to get more clean sheets than the lesser teams. So, you know, thinking out loud, Marju, but look and hearing those goalkeepers at those teams, you know, who do you believe on the spot right now? Who do you believe is going to win that Golden Glove?
Um, I'm gonna say Nick Pope. For me, I think Newcastle had the best defense last season. That's the one thing that got them to be in that such a high position. So for me, it would be them. Outside of Nick Pope, it's probably Allison because Liverpool normally they always play with him. Edison is also a shout, but yeah, for me, Nick Pope, I think they'll have the most clean sheets this season. Um, I think other teams are going to concede a lot of goals. I don't think for Chelsea they have two keepers in Kepa and who did they bring in? Not Raya, the other one. Sanchez, and then Arsenal are bringing in Raya, so they're not going to have consistent goalkeepers. So the three teams that are going to have consistent goalkeepers that are going to keep clean sheets are City, Liverpool, and Newcastle. So it's going to be one of them. But you know what? I'm going to go with something different. I'm going to go with Nick Pope. It's definitely not going to be Onana. He's going to have the most own goals, most chips over, most everything else. Yeah.
That's gonna have the most keepy uppies in all of that.
Uh, and then the Tottenham goalkeeper, I don't know who they even bought from. They bought some fish salesman. I don't even know his name. I don't know even they brought in.
I
So
don't
yeah.
even know.
So yeah, for me, yeah, Nick Pope. Nick Pope's the name. If not him, Edison, and then Allison third. That's
Okay.
the three.
You know what? If Arsenal signed a commanding centre back to partner Saliba, I probably would have said them. Just because they actually did well defensively. The only thing that let them down coming towards the end of the season was the fact that Saliba got injured and they had to deal with Gabriel, who was a liability, with Rob Holding. But outside of that, if Saliba had stayed fit, then Ramsdale probably would have had a lot more clean sheets because defensively Arsenal were actually very good. But I think again, Arsenal's going into this season without an experienced centre back to partner Saliba. So for me, that probably leaves Aaron Ramsdale shy of winning that Golden Glove. For me, I got to back my team. I got to back Allison. I think the minute Liverpool signed that CDM to protect the defensive back line, I reckon our team will be complete. It's just a bonus for us to get a centre back just to give Van Dijk a break. But the main gaping hole in our team is the CDM. And once we secure that signing, then I reckon our defense will go back to how it was the last 2, 3, 4 years. And if anything, if it wasn't for Allison last season and the saves that he made, we probably would be lower down the table than where we were last season. So I feel like the heroics and the ability, world class ability of Allison, along with a CDM signed, I reckon we probably will get more clean sheets, and I probably believe Allison will take it home. So I'm never gonna back Edison. I think Edison is a bum. I think he's second fiddle to Allison. It's a mockery that people actually rate Edison over Allison. It's a slap in the face. Alisson should really be the Brazilian number one goalkeeper. I don't know why he's not, but it is what it is. So my pick is Alisson. And then outside of that, if Arsenal can sign a solid centre back, then I probably will go with Aaron Ramsdale as the second person. And then, yeah, third could be Nick Pope as well, because you're right, Newcastle did have a good defense last season. But yeah, other than that, we're going to close on that. Margie, do you have anything to say before we leave?
Yeah, this season, my agenda is not against Arsenal. My agenda is against Newcastle. So, Newcastle, hold that.
You're a fool. What? Fair enough. Well, there you have it. Normally, Margie has an agenda against Arsenal every season, but it looks like he's putting that to one side and going after Newcastle. That's fine. My
Nope,
agenda.
psych, I lied. It's always Arsenal.
Okay, about to say because I was gonna say it's always Arsenal for me. It don't even matter. It's always
no,
an
but
agenda.
bonus to Brighton though. Them man, they're acting like they're a bigger club. I actually gotta say this. To Brighton and clubs like that. Just because you're in Europe this season doesn't mean you're a bigger club than Chelsea. There are only 3 clubs in the Premier League era that have won Champions League twice. Man United, Liverpool, and yeah, this club right here, Chelsea. So stop talking like you're on our level. Yeah, you're in the Europa League. We won that tin twice. Yeah, know your place and give us Casado.
I'm dead. Okay, so Margie's obviously being bitter about not having Caicedo yet. So that's probably why he's saying that. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to leave. We're going to return next week to discuss the actual Premier League matches that's going to be taking place. All right, so we're going to be reviewing our team's games and 2 more matches that we thought stood out for us. Outside of that, I don't know. Well, whatever comes to mind, we're just gonna wing it and freeball it. But I hope everyone enjoyed watching this podcast. I was talking about football. We're gonna sign out. So yeah, this is Luke signing out. Margie, sign out for me.
Yeah, man. It's Abdallah Yini. We in the building. We got Liverpool on the weekend. I'm gonna slap them up. Yeah, hold that, Luke. Yeah, hold that, all Liverpool fans watching.
Okay. I'm just gonna say okay because it's gonna be sweet when we beat you. Because then I'm gonna say, hold that. Yeah, that's right. And we out, baby. Peace. Love, Jay.